Hey guys, welcome back to this Mr. YouTube channel. Today we're going to be working on some customer stuff. I got in a transmission that the guy put it in the third gear to do a burnout. He did his burnout and then the car in front of him broke. So then he got rolled back to do another burnout because his tires were cold, and he didn't go into the water box again. So what happened? Third gear got completely deleted. Done. So he brought me a box of spare parts, and we're gonna see if there's any damage. We're just gonna take this apart. This should just be a quick take it apart, throw in a third gear, and he's got a spare transmission to go back out ripping. Stay tuned, and we'll get this thing on the bench and start ripping it apart. This thing is eating both it on the input shaft and the output shaft. Third gear's just gone. Here's all the teeth. They're just scattered everywhere, so I got to get this thing further apart to see if there's any other damage. The damage we do not want to see is these chips going into the ring and pinion. That would be detrimental. That would be, you need a new, basically you just got to start fresh, brand new box. Basically you're going to get a brand new ring and pinion. That means all the adjustments, all that stuff has to be redone. So I'm just going to go ahead right now. When I'm here, I always have this front output shaft sleeve off. That gives you a little bit of wiggle. And now all I have to do is just take this T45 out, pop the reverse section. This all just comes right out, and then you can just grab the input shaft, wiggle it out. I already have the 4 nuts off of the front half of the pinion plate, and then I can peel that off, and then we can just sit here and go through. Minimum, this shaft's gonna have to be disassembled, all the bearings cleaned out, because I will show you up here in 5th gear. I did find a couple little, ooh, that was hot, gotta heat those up. I did find a couple little teeth up here in 5th gear, so that's all, everything bearing wise needs to be taken out, cleaned, put back together minimum. So we're just gonna go ahead, get this apart, put you back on a time lapse, and keep going at it. There's a lot of different ways to go about fixing this. There are issues where you know, part of the teeth kind of went through and got a couple gears, but I talked with the customer, he said it was fine. It shifted good before, so there's nothing crazy in here that I think will keep it from shifting or working. This is a race transmission anyway. It's nothing that a little bit of noise from a knurled tooth is gonna cause a headache, you know what I mean? Right now what I'm doing is taking off the 3rd gear. To take off the 3rd gear, need some pliers, and right here there's a little C-clip. Get this loose, get it pulled up, and then I can just press it out. Pretty easy. But the solution we're going to go with, now this is just a crazy combination one. It is a VR6 bell housing with I believe it has a CCM ring and pinion, so the normal like Mark III GTI stuff, and then it has an ATA gear set from a G60 transmission, which you guys should have noticed because this setup on top of 5th gear is way different than normal. Usually there will be a 10mm bolt up here that goes through 5th gear, but on the ATA stuff it has this insert and a 8mm bolt. And also there's like the 5th gear arrangement is almost like a dog engagement. It's synchronized, but just barely. I looked up the ratios of the ATA. The ATA 145 third gear, and the TDI is just a tiny bit shorter at a 1.36, but it's gonna be negligible. It might be like 2 or 3 mile an hour difference of, you know, max RPM shifting. So I think this will be fine. And then also in a TDI, the 4th gear is the exact same as the 4th gear in this, so I'm sure it's gonna be fine. This is the cheapest solution, because finding these ATA transmissions are pretty hard. This is a BEW 3rd gear from an O2J transmission. Here's the 3rd. I just took this one off the input shaft. This is the 3rd gear that goes right here. One thing to note, I believe 3rd gears are the same tooth count wise. Yeah, it's the same tooth count that way. But if you were doing like an O2J swap and you were trying to, like, say I needed 2nd gear and you're like, oh, the 2nd gear from this ATA is the same as a O2J. It's not, because right here you'll see all those teeth. Well, on a Mark IV O2J transmission, there are double the amount of teeth and they're way smaller, so you cannot just swap that out. You would have to swap out everything. You would have to swap out first, the input, you'd have to basically just redo the transmission. So 3rd and 4th gear have the same tooth count, so we can just swap this in. Whatever synchro looks the best, I'm just gonna use. You can measure the synchro gap. Basically what you do is you hold this down flat and you put feeler gauge in this, right in the middle there, and that'll tell you if the synchro is worn out or whatever. But let's just go over and press this out real quick and get it swapped over and cleaned up. Now we're ready to press off the 3rd gear, and in order to do this you got to come down to 2nd gear. So it's pretty easy. You've already taken off 5th, so 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and then there is a C-clip underneath. That's if you want to take everything apart, but for our case we're just gonna take off this stuff, clean everything out, clean all the bearings, and put it back together with the new gear. This is very sketchy. Do not try doing it with a puller, because it just breaks teeth. I've tried it so many times. When it's a junk trans, it's not a big deal. Just make sure you have a good bearing plate, they call it. Have it on there. Always press on the side of the bolts. If you put the bolts right here, the bolts will bow. So bolts always got to be over onto your piece of metal. Now, obviously you got to make sure everything's free and clear and can be pressed down through with no problems. And this is super sketchy. It's gonna be loud, it's gonna crackle, it's gonna pop. It's a lot easier if you have an extra set of hands. There we go. And just grab this whole assembly and come off. Now it's later on, I got the cases all cleaned up. One weird thing was that one of these little rollers had popped out, and this is like an entire bearing, so you can't just replace the bearing. Like, that's a hard thing to get. So I had a broken case here, and I was able to pop out some roller bearings, and I put one in here, smacked it down, and it seems pretty good. This is your reverse idler, so it'll just spin. That's all it's needed for. So all this is all cleaned up. The 3rd gear you guys saw is all pressed on, so this is all good. Now we need the 3rd gear on the pinion side. So I just cleaned everything up and I set it all in place, and I wanted to show you guys two pretty big tips. So the number 1 tip is, no matter what kind of gear set you have, you cannot press on this bearing right here. So you see right now that this bearing is floating. Now, if you have this bearing on this block and you press this down, it will crush that bearing, all the rollers will fall out. Do not do that. So this is a timing idler that's just hanging out there. But then the other big thing is, this is a synchro gear set. So a synchro gear set means that it has a hub right here, and it has a springs on both sides as retainers, and there's 3 dogs. Here they are, right here. They're these silver guys right there. That's your dog. That goes into a specific corresponding spot on the synchronizer. So this is the gear. Here's the gear teeth. This is all one piece. This is your synchronizer ring. So you see that notch right there? If I spin it around, you'll see another notch. There are 3 of them on these transmissions. So if I am pressing this down and this is out of place, it's gonna jam up. You're not gonna be able to get the synchronizer on. Everything's gonna be messed up and you're gonna have to take it all back apart. Now you should be able to see the dog clear as day, and you can see my notch in the synchronizer. So we need to make sure that that goes in there. And now you can see that the third is just spinning nice and free. So there's no issues. And then if I wanted to engage it, there it is. Third gear is now engaged. And I can pop it back up. It's not engaged anymore. The next thing to go on will be the 4th gear bearing sleeve. Heat it up with MAP gas, probably like 20 seconds, and then I'll just drop it right into place. Just drop it right on. And it should drop all the way down. The next thing to go on will be the 4th gear synchronizer. And again, has those teeth. Get it in the dogs. Put it right in there. It's good to go. Then will be the 4th gear needle bearing. What I like to do is get some transmission grease and just put it on the inside of these. Then we're gonna go ahead and take our 4th gear. Here's something else I wanted to show you. Throughout this transmission, there's these. These just look like big washers. That's what most people think, but these are actually thrust washers. Because it's on a needle bearing, this gear just floats. So we're gonna lock this washer into place. That's the thrust, so that pushes down on it, keeps it in place. We take the thrust washer. Then we get our 5th gear roller bearing sleeve. So this has to go on now. This is what holds the tension on this thrust bearing sleeve. So and do the same thing where we heat this up, drop it in place. Then the pinion is assembled and ready to go back in the case. I just wanted to show you guys that when you're putting this stuff back together, everything has to spin free. With a dog engagement box, it's a lot harder because they just want to come down and engage. It's a pain. You got to kind of hold them up. But with this stuff, it's all held in with springs. So right now you can see I have 2nd gear engaged, so it's spinning the entire shaft. 1st gear is not engaged, and you can see it spins freely. Nothing's spinning. 2nd gear is spinning everything, and then if I put it down here, 2nd gear spins perfectly fine. But now 1st gear, when I try to spin it, it spins everything. So that's how you know that everything is working. And now you can go through with all the synchros off, and you can spin every gear independently. So that's how you know it's good. And then setting this pinion, if you don't know what you're doing with this, you can really just wreck a transmission big time. The only thing I can say right now is I have another video showing you how to set this stuff. I'll link it down in the description. But basically, based off of feel, I can give you an idea. You should have some resistance. You should not be able to pull or push this bearing down at all. So the input shaft should not be able to move in those bearings. Everything should spin nice and free. Look at that. There's nothing's contacting nothing, you know? It's nice and free. There's no side-to-side play, because when you tighten these 4 nuts down in the bell housing, it's squishing a bottom bearing and squishing an upper bearing, and it's squishing them together and setting preload. So this is good. This is set. And then what I was telling you guys earlier is leave this front seal off, because now all you have to do, grab the input shaft, and you can literally just slide it in, and there it is. Now the input shaft's in place. I'm going to take it back out and put some grease around it and some grease around this bearing as well. But all this is assembled, and then after this is when you put on your reverse gear idler. You put that in, and then you put in the reverse gear selector, you put that in, throw in the shifter forks, and after that it's pretty well easy. I'll show you guys a couple more tips in a second. Don't forget your magnet. And then in the book it does say this needs to be on like a 15-degree incline, so I always just put a piece of wood right here, and then I get a beetle head stud and I put it into the reverse gear idler. So that's where this bolt will come down through the top of the transmission into there, and then the front of this will have a bolt out the side. If you can ever grab a junk air-cooled engine, just yank these studs out. I use these studs for all kinds of stuff, putting core supports on. They have the case studs are 10 millimeter and the head studs are 8 millimeter. It's the only thing air-cooled engines are good for. You can take that to the bank. Like, it's air-cooled stuff's junk. Now all we have to do is just clean up the case. I'm just gonna go around with some brake clean, put down some sealer. You don't gotta go crazy with the sealer. And then we'll get this assembled. We'll get 5th gear on, and then we'll be able to wrap this transmission up. Trans is all back together. I made sure everything's spun free. There's no issues. You would like to be able to put a shift tower in there, but I don't have one. He didn't send me one with it. But I know everything's good. I could shift it all by hand. So I know it's all good. It's ready to rip. Hopefully you guys will see this car back out on the track again. Keep in mind, guys, that this is a used transmission. This isn't as professional, I would say. Basically, we're just using parts to get this thing going, to get it back out on the road, it back in the car. It's not something that needs to be quiet. It's not something that needs to live a long life. It's something that needs to live a hard life, if that makes any sense. If you guys are interested, I'll leave a link down in the description for my email. Smith's Euro shop is located in Calora, Maryland, so we're right by the Cecil County Dragway, and we'll take care of whatever you need. If you need a transmission built, no problem. If you need a gear set, I work with KP Tuned. So if you need a dog box gear set, or if you need an aftermarket synchro gear set, let me know. I can get you in touch with Paul and I can build it for you if you want. I can set up just a diff. I will have a video on setting up just a diff. This car has been a long-term project. It's closing in. The final job is to get the diff built and then just put it back together. So I have a Pelican diff here for this guy. Pelican's out of business, unfortunately, now, so he's probably got one of the last new ones. And so now I highly recommend Quaife, because that's what I've had in my race car and I've never had an issue with it. Wave Track's nice, but it's just not something I've used personally. So yeah, Quaife would be my go-to. But again, if you guys need any information, if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. And if you need some help building a trans, send me a message and we'll get it all sorted out, get you on the schedule. Thanks again for watching.